into the future where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So, have you ever played the victim? Have you ever played the sympathy card? Have you ever tried to get a little bit more by being all woe is me to people that care? A buddy of mine, I can't mention him by name. I think possibly he listens to this show. And if he doesn't, I know a couple of people that know him who do. So I got to be careful how I talk about this. But a buddy of mine has a wife that recently had some surgery. I don't exactly know what it was for, but I do know that it stopped her from being mobile for a little while. Like, she wasn't able to get up and go out and do things the way she used to. She wasn't able to run after their kids the way she used to. She wasn't able to do things like laundry and bed making and preparing food the way she used to. It was a really tough time for her and for him too, because he was just like, man, I'm burnt. I love my wife more than anything in this world, and I'm trying to help her recover and trying to do the best I can. And I really don't want her to do some kind of injury to herself that slows down her recovery even more. But I got to tell you, man, I would never tell my wife this to her face, but I am tired. I am tired of running after all of our kids. I'm tired of doing all the chores and all the work and working a full-time job. They have sort of like a relationship where he goes and makes the money, and she looks after the house, and together they homeschool their kids. And it seems like a really very good and very fair division of labor. It's a relationship that has lasted for an awfully long time, and clearly they love each other very much. But he did confess to me that he's like, man, I'm a little run down. I'm a little tired after looking after everything and everyone. And then a couple weeks later, I was like, how's it going? Is she feeling any better? Are you getting a little bit of a break? And he was like, yeah, she's starting to milk it. I was like, really? Starting to milk it? Like how so? He's like, I've seen her do things when she thinks I'm not looking that she would have me believe she's incapable of doing. You know, little things like getting up, getting her own water. Little things like picking up one of our kids. She's not supposed to be able to pick up our kids, but I've seen her do it a bunch of times, and she seems fine. She's awfully fleet on her feet when she thinks I'm not looking. And then when I'm in the room, she's starting to milk a little bit. She's starting to take advantage. I was like, really? He was like, I got to be honest with you, though. I would probably do the same thing. And it wasn't like, time to start bailing the water out of their relationship. It wasn't like, oh no, you're going down in flames. But he was like, yeah, she's beginning to take advantage now. And I'm in a lousy position because I can't call her on it because she might be like, I had surgery. Who knows? Relationships are an interesting one, but I do know that playing a victim can make people who have extended goodwill somewhat resentful. But as my friend's wife has learned, there's some good mileage to be gained by playing the victim. You can get stuff. You can get people to do stuff for you if you're just like, oh, woe is me. Oh, I wish I could run after the kids the way I would like to, but sadly, you're going to have to do that. I think I saw him playing with a lawnmower. You're going to have to be quick about it and grab me an ice cream cone and the TV remote while you're doing it. This was an actual conversation they had. And it builds up a certain amount of resentment. And I don't know. It's an interesting one to me because not long after I had this conversation with my buddy about his wife sort of playing the victim, it occurred to me that there was something going on in the world of politics when it came to playing the victim, acting hurt, acting like you'd been offended, acting like somebody owed you something that I'd never seen before. It was a different side of that sort of thing that, I don't know, is upsetting the apple cart somewhat politically. What are we talking about? Well, Tim Allen. Tim the Tool Man, that guy. You familiar with his work, Funkhouser? Yeah, Tim Allen. Yeah. Tim Allen's show got canceled. And here's the brouhaha. They're saying it's because Tim Allen's a conservative who supports Donald Trump. And this is what kind of blows my ever-loving mind. The one thing that Republicans I don't feel like they've done a whole hell of a lot. Like, the left has gotten great mileage out of it. The left has gotten fantastic mileage out of going like, you have to accept me for what I am. And if you don't, I'm offended. And all you got to do in this situation is throw the word bully out there now. Oof. That lights up the powder keg nice and bright. If you call someone a bully, or you say that you are being bullied or someone is bullying, whoa, does that change the narrative in the conversation? So words like that get thrown around a lot, but it's very interesting. I'm seeing the Republicans start to do something that I don't remember them doing a whole lot in the past, and makes me go, just come to, no, that thing that you're doing now, get some freaking backbone and just don't do that.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
See, the folks on the right have always sort of openly despised the tactic of boo-hooing, the tactic of playing the victim. And yet, I don't know. I think because it's such easy, low-hanging fruit to play the victim and go, I'm hurt and upset. Someone has to tend to my needs. Wah. Like I said before, all you got to do is throw out the word bully. Go, I'm hurt. I'm upset. Somebody used the word. Somebody bullied me, and immediately people will go, what can we do? What can we do to make it so that you've got an equal place in society in some way, shape, or form? You feel marginalized. You feel passed over. You feel all these things. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Because we can't have you calling us a bully, because that's career suicide for a politician. And like I said, I think it's such easy, low-hanging fruit for people on the left that after years and years and years of the right condemning it, saying that they despise people that play the victim, I think they've started to go, oh God, it would be fantastic to be able to have people just fawn all over us because we acted a little bit upset. And it's something you're starting to see. More and more folks on the right acting like exactly the same thing that they claim to despise. Now, I suppose the latest and most obvious example of this is cancellation of Tim Allen's show, Last Man Standing. You're familiar with this, Funkhouser, Tool Time, Tim, that dude. Mm-hmm. He had this show, Last Man Standing, and I think he was supposed to be this right-wing curmudgeon-y dude, and he had sort of a lefty daughter that was going to college or graduating college, and you put the lefty daughter and the incredibly right-wing father in a room together, and the comedy doth ensue. And here's the thing, the show was recently canceled, and now some on the right are starting a petition calling for boycotts of the folks over at ABC. Folks over at change.org have a petition with nearly 10,000 signatures saying Last Man Standing is one of the only shows on broadcast television and the only sitcom that is not constantly shoving liberal ideas down the throats of the viewers. And sadly, that is likely the real reason that the show has been canceled. With a plethora of ultra-liberal shows available on television, this show stood out from the rest and motivated conservatives who voted for President Trump. That's the narrative. And look, a show got canceled. The ratings were okay, but I think it'd been going for 6 seasons. 6 seasons is a screaming success by anybody's standards in this day and age. They're saying, please demand that Congress investigate whether this is fantastic use of taxpayer dollars. This is exactly what I want that 40% of my blood, sweat, and tears that is ripped away from my paycheck to go to every single month. This is what I want Congress to be spending tax dollars on. Please demand that Congress investigate whether Last Man Standing was canceled for political reasons. Really? A congressional investigation into why the guy from Tool Time show got canceled? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because he's a guy from freaking Tool Time. He did 6 seasons. That's really, really good by anyone's standards. And it's just, do you see the futility of the argument? Asking Congress to investigate an ABC sitcom. Now, look, I know there's tons of people who be like, you don't understand, AD. There's a liberal plot in the media to change America and change our viewpoints and normalize things that we don't want normalized and yada, yada. Yeah, look, understand if the folks over at ABC or NBC or CBS or CNN or Fox News, for that matter, are programming your mind, or you're concerned that they're programming the minds of your friends to normalize things that you think are egregious awfulnesses that should be banned, well, then I got to tell you, you got some weak-minded friends. You really do. I mean, it's TV. That's what it is. And I'm not discounting the power of the media. That is obviously there. But at what point does it become a normal or sensible use of American tax dollars to demand a congressional investigation into why Tool Time Guy's sitcom got canceled? And people are just angling. People are just angling for the sympathy card. People are just angling for the opportunity to play the victim. Folks gave Barack Obama the hardest time for years and years, saying, stop playing the race card. Me. And it's a fine argument, I suppose, but it's one that's weakened when right-wing politicians like Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker gets in on the act, tweeting, looks like ABC is playing politics with your show despite decent ratings. Sad. That's the new thing that politicians do now. It's something they all picked up from Trump. And as much as they want to malign Trump for not being a career politician like them, that's what they do. They have a sentence and they finish it with an adjective or an adverb. ABC canceled Tim Allen's show. Sad. It's like Trump did this. What's a good Trump tweet? I don't know. Ivanka's clothing line isn't being carried at Nordstrom's. Bad. All these politicians are doing this now. It's a sentence followed by an adjective or an adverb. And it's just, I don't know. Look, you can't take one thing away from Trump, and that is he managed to communicate with the American voter more effectively than anyone else that was in the mix, up to and including Scott Walker. So you would understand why he would emulate the person who beat his ass so badly and his communication style. But if there's one thing that folks on the right should not be emulating, it's going for that easy, cheap, playing the victim card that comes unbelievably naturally to them, increasingly so in the wake of things like Tim Allen's show getting canceled. Yeah, sure, stand on a matter of principle. That's worth a congressional investigation. No, it's not.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
Alrighty then, Funkhouser. Perhaps we should do a little bit of news, but first and foremost, let's hear what the events of your day were. Where are you? What are you doing? Where in the world is Funkhouser?
Oh, well, not much has changed since we've talked last time. I've been huddled up in a room in El Paso because there are strong winds that are kind of stopping us down from heading out right now.
Oh, there's that terrible tornado in Wisconsin. I think one person actually passed away, like 24 injured. It's a big, bad situation. Yeah, weather is starting to play up for sure in many parts of our country. If you are near where Funkhouser is, or if you are one of the people that was affected by the tornado in Wisconsin, please, please, please be safe and know that we are thinking about you. It's terrible stuff. But you're actually hunkered down, right? Funkhouser, that's what they call it when the weather gets bad. You're hunkered down.
Yeah. We should be leaving pretty soon. I think we're headed towards Sweetwater, Texas. But I saw my first tornado on the news in Texas, and it was like over there near Oklahoma. So I wasn't that afraid. But I'm prepared for an earthquake, but not a tornado. I don't know what to do.
You gotta hide under a mattress.
Duck and
That's
cover.
what you do during a tornado. Like in Texas, though, in lots of parts of Texas, no basements. So, like if you're in the Midwest and a tornado happens, well, you've got a tornado shelter and you go into the basement or in your storm shelter or wherever it is, and that tends to be under the ground, and that protects you, or at least does its very best to protect you. But yeah, in Texas, they don't have basements in a lot of places. So you got to get under a mattress, usually in the bathroom with the door closed. That's the procedure for. Yeah, I think it is in the tub. Double check this. Don't quote me on this one. If I and by the way, an air mattress doesn't work.
I was told
FYI.
in the pop. So I was told by the RV guy that if you're trapped in a tornado-like scenario, one's coming at you and you're in an RV, you're supposed to get out of it and find the lowest point in the ground.
Yeah. You go for the low ground, not the high ground in a tornado. So
all right, writing all this down for hopefully not having to use it.
So you haven't really explored too much of El Paso. You wandered into Mexico, you ate double beans, and came home with a stomach ache.
Double beans.
Oh, you didn't eat. Did you see that guy, big Mets fan one? Did you see the tweet he tweeted about?
No.
About you eating double beans?
Oh yeah. That went around. Thanks a lot. That was a good one.
That was very good, very creative. Go on.
Yeah.
Well,
but I did see. I saw Mexico. I'm not going back. Everyone said they wanted to go back on Tuesday night, last night, but I think we all opted against it because I don't want to go there after dark. Man, it's already scary enough. I started Googling Juarez. What happens there? Ooh.
Well,
Scary.
Hey, look, I think if you are in any kind of doubt and you don't know the terrain and you don't have a suitable guide to show you through said terrain, then go with your gut. Your gut's good at keeping you alive. That's what that's for.
Yeah. My gut
Fear
said,
is a
"Get out
powerful
of there.
motivator.
Run."
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, like, it's cool to be an international world traveler and a man of mystery and everything, but it's also cool to live. So if you don't know the terrain and the town has a bad reputation and it's in a foreign country, well, maybe you should hang out in the hotel room for a little bit longer.
Yeah. So we're
watching Hotel Cable?
Yeah, a lot of Hotel Cable.
Yeah. Do they still have? Do they have? So when we were in a band, when the band was going on tour, there was the adult feature channel. And here's the thing: a lot of the time, it would be something that you have to pay to unlock. It's not like you ordered movies individually. Some of the time, you just had to pay to unlock whatever the hell it was they had. But you got a pixelated version of it. Like, did you ever see that, Funkhouser?
Yeah. Not lately.
Yeah.
This is pre-2005 you're talking. Some of the kids are like, what does he mean?
Yeah, and we used to call it, like, what are you going to do tonight? You going to go out? You going to party? He's like, nah, probably just go back to the hotel room and watch some squiggly porn. Try and squint and see if I can't make out a piece of a body. Because, like, there was also a bunch of hiss, like there's crackle or static. So it was a staticky picture with staticky sound, and you could pay money to have it be as clear as you could get. But if you squinted and if you kind of like listen really closely, you might be able to see through some of the squiggly porn, make out a body part, and maybe even hear some moans of passion or whatever the hell it was. And because, none of us wanted, it was not very rock and roll of us, really. I think none of us wanted that to show up on the bill that would go to our management later and be like, all right, because what would happen was with expenses, because we didn't have financiers or financial institutions in America, what would happen is we would, reimburse. We would reimburse our management or our banker when they would go, okay, who spent what on, we see this, and they would go through the expenditures with a fine-tooth comb and then say, this one's yours, this one's yours. Who rented a car in Arizona? Who went out to dinner here? And we would pay back what we'd spent on the band credit card. And so if it was who ordered several adult features in Topeka, Kansas, our accountant was a sweet elderly lady, and that's not a conversation we want to have with her. No, thank you. No, thank you very much. So we just opted to watch squiggly porn because we couldn't fess up to watching real porn when our accountant came to us at the end of the month and said, who is this? Who spent money on Round and Brown. Was that you, AD? No, it was definitely not. That was Paul. No, it wasn't Paul. It was. Gareth was out of the country at that time. I guess it was no one. That's who it was. No one. So I guess no one's paying for it. No, somebody's got to pay for it. It was this whole big thing. So hence we watched a lot of squiggly porn.
Well, we don't.
Never once found it satisfying. Always hope for better.
There's not squiggly porn in the hotel rooms. I've noticed in Las Vegas, Nevada, you can still buy porn on the TV through the remote for like $2.99.
Right.
But here, no. I got 60 channels. I got HBO and HBO2. I got all the Fox News I can handle. ABC and the Weather Channel and the Travel Channel. There are 2 networks on cable that are playing shows about little people, and I haven't figured out which one is which. I think one's a family and the other one's like a dating show. I don't understand.
No.
But, the 60 channels.
You know what hacks me off? There's too many freaking spin-offs. Did you ever used to watch the original Iron Chef?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the original one.
Overdubbed
like the original one that
English?
was... Yeah, the horrible dubbing in it.
Like the greatest.
Yeah, I found a bunch of those on, what was it? Some service I have. Sling. There was like a bunch of episodes, and I watched like all 10 of them. I was like, this is great. I forgot how great the original Iron Chef was. I want to watch more. And there was like Iron Chef Eats, which is basically just, some chefs you've never heard of. Not Morimoto, that's for sure. Not Iron Chef Japanese Morimoto hitting the town telling you his favorite restaurants to eat in. No, it was just like a bunch of... It's just like any other Food Network show, and they slapped the Iron Chef name on it. And it was like, when I go out to breakfast, I like to go to Balthazar in New York City. It's like, oh, bait and switch. This is not Iron Chef-y at all. This is garbage, I tell you, garbage. Too many spin-offs, not enough original Iron Chefs. I want to see the chairman bite into a pepper and laugh maniacally. That's what I want to freaking see. Jerks. Yes. All right. Food Network. Trying to mess with the program. You ever see that episode of Iron Chef? And it was before there was Iron Chef America, before the whole thing got diluted by... and I love Alton Brown, but he's just not the guy that you want for that. You want it badly overdubbed. That's what you want. But, like, did you remember when Bobby Flay competed on the Iron Chef for the first time? Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw clips of it.
And I thought it was so hardcore. It was pretty freaking punk rock and gangster, but he was competing against one of the biggest Iron Chefs, Iron Chef Japanese Chef Morimoto. And at the end of the competition, Bobby Flay did this thing that I guess he does sometimes, but he stood up on his cutting board, his table or whatever, and he waved his knives in the air, like this big triumphant gesture. And it was kind of obnoxious, and it wasn't in the spirit of the whole thing. And Morimoto could not have had more disdain for him. He looked over at him. Do you remember this? Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
And he was like, that man's not a chef. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's one of the... And he's like, that man's not a chef. No true chef would ever stand on the surface he just prepared food on. That's disgusting and disrespectful. And I was like, damn Skippy, it's disgusting and disrespectful. F you, Bobby Flay. F you for tainting the Iron Chef. Not only with your feet, but with your presence alone. Yeah. All right.
That was it. You never liked him again. I never liked him to begin with.
I don't know. Like, out of all the celebrity chefs, are there any that you like?
Giada.
Is she like a... Really?
Come on, Giada De Laurentiis. She's the granddaughter of Oscar. Right? Oscar De Laurentiis, the movie guy. And
I don't know.
She's got her own restaurant in Vegas, and she's cleavage for days. Oh, if you saw her, the Twitter's going to explode with pictures of Giada now.
To Google. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How are we spelling this? Giatta?
No, Giada. That'd be fine. That should give you enough. She's like Madonna at this point.
Oh, De Laurentiis. At home, recipes, Vegas, on Ellen. Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Images, please. Images.
Ellen would like her to be on Ellen, I would imagine. Oh, yeah. No, in every single picture, her boobs are like totally out. Oh, here she is swimming.
She's a really great chef.
There she is. There she is doing yoga. not afraid of being photographed in downward facing dog. She knows what she's doing.
Does she? I don't know if she does.
Oh, there's
She's
something
very
here about how
wholesome.
she got
She's on the...
there's something here about how she got revenge after divorce.
Oh no, I didn't know.
Yeah,
She's always making food for her husband. I'm envious.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, that guy comes home from work to the best food and all that cleavage.
It is an awful lot of cleavage. Oh, here she is grabbing her own cleavage. I don't know if she's as wholesome as you think she is.
I don't think you're
Funkhouser.
looking at the. That might be a photoshopped.
No. It's real.
Really?
Yeah. Although, to be fair, it looks like someone with a telephoto lens that caught her in a moment where she thought it was private, and she was just adjusting the girls on vacation. It's a little unfair to be all judgy with that one. Oh, there she is on Ellen.
Yeah, you should watch her cook. You know, after this show, you should go on YouTube and you know how whenever you're hungry, you go on search and you go best blank. You should go best.
Sorry, I've just come across a large selection of her doing yoga, and yeah, these are. These bring out the deviant in you. Yeah, okay, all right. I'm sure she's. Well, that's good to know. Now we know what Funkhouser's into. Good.
She's a good cook.
How do you know? You ever eaten her food?
No, but she's on my TV all the time. And the has to use
then the food must be delicious.
I'm looking at the stuff she's making. There's no way to make that not taste. But you're right. I haven't tasted her juices in like real life for food.
Unclean, Funkhouser. Unclean. I just got quick, briskly to the news. Go on.
Dwayne Johnson said running for president is a real possibility.
Oh, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah, I don't know.
Would you vote for him?
His hands are way too big. Go on.
NBC's next live musical will be Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah. President Trump can't wait. In fact, he's already suggested that they cast James Comey as Judas. Go on.
Forbes published their annual list of the highest paid hip-hop stars.
Good for them, said Waka Flocka Flame as he resumed washing my windshield with a sports page. Continue.
He's got to be making money now.
I don't know. I don't know if any of these rappers really... Some of them make money. Some of them act like they make money. Some of them keep the money that they make. But, like, I know a lot. Like, I was kind of down for a little bit. Like, as a kid, I thought I was down. I was not. But like a lot of suburbanite, upper middle class white kids, I was under the mistaken impression that I was down. And then I kind of got involved in music and started doing like rock remixes for hip hop artists, and sort of for a moment was almost vaguely down. And there's a lot of rappers I know that got their homes foreclosed on. It's an interesting and sad development, but that need to look like you've got all the money in the world makes you burn through your money awful quick sometimes. So I don't know how a Waka Flock is doing.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving my music a savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior.
All right, Funkhouser, let's continue with the news. What else is going on in the world?
You were talking about being down earlier, about being once you were down once.
No, not down. Not down in any way, shape, or form. I mean, thought I was down. Look, you're not down when you do graffiti and your getaway mode of choice is your mom's Volvo. Like, this is not, that's not a thing.
Aww.
But nevertheless.
It wasn't when you were in Southern California. Isn't that like ska punk? How they even got together was because everyone had Volvo driving soccer moms.
Maybe.
It's like Orange County.
Yeah, no. And maybe Volvo driving soccer moms bred little ska punks from Orange County, but nobody ever won credibility points by driving away from the scene of a graffiti-related crime in a station wagon. It's just not how it goes.
What is your opinion on them now, though? Now that we're of a certain age, What do you think about
Volvos?
Yeah, or just those kind of cars,
I've had to rent
wagons in general.
I've had to rent a bunch of cars recently, and here's the conclusion I've come to. They're all pretty much the same. Like, the individuality of vehicles has sort of been ground down. Like, obviously I'm not out there renting Mercedes Benzes or Lamborghinis or anything like that. But, what did I have the other day? A Chevy Impala? You ever been in one of those?
Oh, yeah, man. What was the occasion? Chevy Impala. Was it lowered?
Yeah, it was not lowered.
How big were the rims?
There were no rims. It was just, a rental. It was a standard sedan.
No, those
four-door.
are real nice.
It was really nice. In fact, as I parked it on the street, about to go to dinner with my mom on Mother's Day, I guess they do have a certain amount of gangster credibility, because this individual who could be described as being somewhat thuggish in terms of the way he walked. He walked with a limp. I don't know if it was an affected limp or if it was a real limp. And he had everybody was graduating. It was graduation weekend. And he had a tassel around his neck, like he just graduated. And he walks up to the car. He's like, "Yo, this is clean." I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "This is clean. This is tight. How long you had this?" I was like, I don't know. I rented it earlier. It's not mine. He was like, "Do you mind if can I take a look?" And I was just like, "Yeah, from over there." And I was like, he was like, "What?" And I was like, "I'm kind of in a rush. Have reservations for Mother's Day," he said, sounding as ungangster as possible, very much aware that I could be wading into something a little bit tricky here. And I'm not a tough guy by any stretch of the imagination.
This is how George Costanza gets beaten up.
But I know how to handle myself. Look, you don't grow up on the streets of cities like New York and London and not know how to deal with a situation or have an idea of how to deal with a situation. But remember, I'm on crutches. So I've got all the people that I care about the most in the world in the car with me. And this guy walking up to me, side-eyeing me, asking if he can basically get in the car and take a look. And I was just like,
yeah, it's a little sketchy.
And I was like, totally sketchy. And he's wearing this graduation tassel around your neck. I was like, "You graduated?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Way to go. What'd you graduate from? Where'd you go?" And he was like, "Man, I graduated from the streets." And I was like, that's good. That's fine. Cool. We're just going to be going off over here. And maybe when I've got a little bit more time, when I come back later, you can have a look at the car. How does that sound? And he was like, "All right, man, that's cool." And I was like, "Yeah, that would be cool." And I was like, "Hey, everybody, let's just duck into this store here for a second while him and his homies pass by," because it was weird. You never know. And I'm sure they were just high out of their mind. But it was one of those situations where I was like, my ankle's messed up and my family's in the car with me. This is everybody I care about the most in the world. I wish I had a gun.
Situations.
Oh, it was one of those situations where I wished I had a gun. There was no two ways about it. No, I'm not a gun owner, but there's times where I'm like,
would you just show it, brandish?
If I had
in that situation,
if I had a permit to carry a concealed firearm, then I would have been through so much training, letting me know the proper way to act in these situations, and that would have been it. And I would have acted in the proper way. I think, and I don't know. I'm not going to act like I'm all sorts of tough or anything. And I've always had an ability to deal with tough situations. I'm not some super street fighter, but I know a thing or two, and I know enough to handle a guy that's deeply stoned out of his mind the way this guy clearly was, because he stank of weed like you wouldn't believe, which was totally legal in Washington where we were. However,
you didn't say I'm at Washington.
Well, I'm at this huge disadvantage right now. I'm at this huge disadvantage in this situation because my ankle is all sorts of messed up. I haven't been injured in forever. I just haven't. And I really didn't, I really, if things went south, I didn't necessarily know what I would do, but I knew I would be at a tremendous disadvantage because of an inability to really sort of stand or put weight on something. I've got these people in the car that I care about. And I found myself going, wish I had a gun. And I've wished that maybe 2 times in my life. And that was one of them. And it turned out to be fine. Turned out to be all right. Interestingly enough, one of the other times that I'd wish that was when someone tried to get into a vehicle I was driving at a gas pump. Like someone was gassing up. I was gassing up. I couldn't drive away. And this guy started to get in the car. I was like, you need to get the hell out now. And I did have a Louisville Slugger with me, which was the practice at the time. But still, at the time, I was just like, I wish I had a gun. And I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of letters from people that are folks with permits to carry that are going to want to take me shooting and stuff. And look, this might be something that I wind up doing in the future, but it was an unusual situation because I was injured. And I'm not saying that I could have handled myself any better had I not been injured, but I feel as though I could have. And all of a sudden I was like, oh crap, I'm at a disadvantage. I wish I was armed because that's my mom. That's my sister. I'm not letting anything happen to them, and I know I'd be in a much better place to protect them had I some sort of weapon or, a functional ankle. It was an interesting one, to be sure. What else, Funkhouser?
I wish I had a gun now. Not at this exact moment, but like on this trip, so I can.
Oh, dude,
I'm in gun country.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that you're in gun country, but it's like, dude, if you're driving through the desert in an RV with a giant painting or a giant wrap of a wealthy lawyer running across America. Hey, this guy's a famous lawyer from the TV and he's in an RV that's stuck in the middle of a desert. I'd want a gun too.
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
All right, Funkhouser, let's roll through what remains of the news. What else is going on in the world?
I'll tell you what, though, before we do that, we did get some fireworks, and I can't wait to do that. I mean, that's not quite a gun, but it's close enough, I think. It's a start.
It's nothing at all like a gun. One is for fun, one is for protection.
Oh, you can shoot a gun for fun. That's a fun thing, isn't it? People do that for fun.
But if you're counting on fireworks to protect you,
No, you can't do that. Unless you're trying to get attention. Like, over here, somebody's trying to kill me. Ooh.
Send up a flare.
No, don't look up there. Come, let's help.
Sometimes there are pieces of news. Sometimes there's pieces of news that make you just go, everything I'd hoped is true. You can keep the news bed rolling because this is news to me.
It's there.
Betty White is 95 years old.
Yeah.
And she knows what she wants. She wants to get it on. How do we know this? We'll get into that after we finish what remains of the news. What else, Funk? See what I did there?
Tease?
It's tease. Yeah, that's a cliffhanger. How much time do we have left in this segment?
It's aged like fine wine, like 12 minutes. So 12 minutes from now, you're going to...
All right. So give me the, whatever we're doing in about 10 minutes, give me the 2-minute warning, and
Okay.
I'll explain to you how I know that
2
Betty
minutes?
White at the age of 95 still wants to get busy.
Sure you don't need 3?
What, you want me to describe it slower, you freak?
Well,
Go
if
on.
I have the option.
More news, Funkhouser. Let's just gloss right over what you just asked me for.
Donald Trump sent a letter to the FBI building to notify James Comey that he'd been fired.
Yeah, Donald Trump didn't even do it face-to-face, apparently. Ironically, when he let him go, he kind of showed more respect to Arsenio Hall and Little John on The Apprentice than he did to the director of the FBI. Go on.
White House spokesperson Sarah Huckabee Sanders said James Comey had committed atrocities.
Yeah, similar to the person who does Trump's hair. Continue.
President Trump told a Russian diplomat that he wants a better relationship with Moscow.
You know what? People are going to jump all over him for this one. They really are. Because look, if there's one thing that Trump's detractors are reaching for like you wouldn't believe, it's that he's all sort of cozy with the Russians, and that the Russians had some sort of hand in tampering with the results of the election or influencing the results of the election. But hey, I would like better relationships with Russia, too. I would like it if America got along with more countries. Now, obviously, there's going to be some things that you just can't turn a blind eye to. You want good diplomatic relationships with countries, but you also don't want to be fiscally or militarily in bed with someone that commits human atrocities. But nevertheless, I don't know. I don't think Russia's there yet. Putin's not a nice guy. Putin is essentially a Bond villain who wound up running a country, but he's getting along with him as
he's a good hockey player.
Yeah, and getting along with Vladimir Putin as he strokes his Blofeld-esque cat, I think, is probably a better move than not getting along with Russia at the moment. That's what I think. I think that, if we can strengthen friendships and relationships and diplomatic relationships with countries that we've had a tenuous relationship with for years and years and years and years and years, call me crazy, but I see that as a good thing. Go on.
Mm-hmm. KFC released a romance novel starring Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, that way you can read something that tugs at your heart while eating something that destroys it at the same time. Go on.
A Missouri woman says during a recent United flight, she had to pee in a cup at her seat because flight attendants wouldn't let her get up to use the restroom.
Yeah. Things continue to go from bad to, well, not worse, because that bloody guy that they dragged through the aisles, I wouldn't say this is worse than that, but things for the folks that handle United's public relations go from bad to disgusting. Can you imagine being the person sitting next to that woman and be like, she says she's going to do it. That she's not going to do it. Oh God, she's doing it. A woman next to me is relieving herself into a cup because she can't get up and go to the restroom. This woman next to me is urinating. Gross. Like, that would just be too freaking much for me to take. And then after United refused to let her get up, so she had to pee in a cup at her seat, they had the unmitigated gall to add insult to injury by charging her a $35 pee in a cup fee. Go on.
Oh, she must have been a member. It's a discount. Yeah. New research suggests that shouting swear words can actually give you a little burst of energy that makes you stronger.
Yeah. You want to be momentarily physically stronger? Curse up a blue streak. It works. Apparently, it fires off adrenaline and things like that gives you extra energy that will momentarily make you more able to lift the car off the baby or whatever it is you're trying to do. It's interesting. Swearing makes you stronger. Which is why, in a related story, in the next Avengers movie, the Hulk is going to be played by Chef Gordon Ramsay. Do you like him?
Oh, yeah. He's good.
Yeah. You know how... have you seen on like Imgur, various parts of the internet, but mostly I seem to see him on Imgur and Reddit?
Imgur?
There's those roast me things.
Imgur?
I don't know. However the hell you want to pronounce it.
All right.
Like roast me. Have you seen those?
I think so. Oh, uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
You send in a picture of yourself and people make fun of you. Well, people have started doing that with Gordon Ramsay, where they send him pictures of food that they've cooked and he insults it. Like, it's the greatest.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, like that really kind of like he went up several notches in my estimation when I found out he was playing along with that one.
No, man, he's a YouTube follow. Like, okay, so I don't really subscribe to channels on YouTube because I don't have the time for it. I mean, that's the commitment. You know, if you get those vloggers, we've had a couple of vloggers on our show that I subscribe to, but like Gordon Ramsay does a really good one. I think he does it himself or his team does it, but they put recipes up and he's like, here's how to cook a hard-boiled egg perfectly. And it's like 6 minutes long. There's no ads. There's no crap in between. It's just very British and very to the point. It's great. Have you started watching the Great British Bake Off? No.
Oh my gosh. It just really makes you want to, well, for me, it makes me want to spend more time in England because like they're so freaking polite, the contestants. It's this baking competition show. And in America, if you had a baking competition show, like one team would be saying to the other, you and your bitch cakes are going down. Your croissants suck. You call that a biscuit? Like that's the attitude of American baking competition shows. In the Great British Bake Off, they're like, oh, I say, yours is really rather good. I've made a bit of a mess of mine. I hope I don't get eliminated in this round. You deserve to win everything. They're so polite to each other, and it's so nice. And then they help each other out. Like, oh, I finished proving my dough, so I'll help you roll out something or cut. Like, it's amazing. They're so polite to each other. I'm like, that's the stuff that makes the world go around. Be freaking nice. And it can make for good TV. We are determined to pit each other against one another in American television, but you don't have to. You don't have to scream and shout and tell somebody their bitch cakes are going down. Bitch cakes. That's funny. I think that's going to be my new favorite expression. What's up, bitch cakes? But it's a weird situation. Watch the Great British Bake Off. You're going to love it.
Have you seen Master of None?
Oh, the Aziz Ansari one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched the first season. I'm waiting on the second one.
It just came out. You should watch it. Now that we're on a food tangent, it's relatable to this right here.
It's about food?
No, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's kind of related to what we talked about today a little bit.
Oh. How people in England are polite about food?
No, just like food.
Except for Gordon Ramsay, who's like genuinely terrifyingly mean. Bitch cakes. Well, I'll watch Master of None.
Add that to your list there.
Bitch cakes in mind. Go on.
Friends of Scott Disick say he's drowning in alcohol and needs rehab.
Yeah, Scott Disick, he is the, like, what is he? He's a Kardashian baby daddy. Not to Kim.
It's too hard to follow that tree. It's somewhere in the circle. Like the most normal Kardashian sister. That's the baby daddy, I think. Is it Kourtney with the Khloe? I don't know. All I know is that of the three Kardashian sisters, he is a baby daddy to the one that has struck me as being more reasonable than the rest. And apparently he's, I think this guy's, no. Okay, I know exactly who this is. This guy's sort of like I actually bumped into him once. Kind of a D-bag. And by kind of, I mean a total. Friends of Scott Disick say he's drowning in alcohol and needs rehab? Mm-hmm. That's shocking. Scott Disick has friends? Never would have thought it. Go on. Oh, it's Betty White time. Oh, it's time.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's time.
So, like I was saying before, Betty White is 95 years old. And she's a woman that after all that time on Earth knows exactly what she wants. And what Betty White wants is it. She wants it. She wants to get it on. Apparently, she wants to squeeze in, pun absolutely intended, as many erotic adventures as she possibly can before she joins the other Golden Girls on that big 80s sitcom in the sky. And you want to know how we know this, Funkhouser? She was dating some dude, cut him loose last month. Why? Because he wasn't getting the job done. Apparently, some not super reliable tabloid said, quote, Betty was really into this guy, but after the initial lust period cooled off, she just wasn't satisfied. She wants more than just a doe-eyed companion. She knows her days are numbered, and she wants to have as much fun as she can. How about that, Funkhouser?
All right. I mean, if I was 95, I'd say the same thing, wouldn't you? Come on. You got.
What if you're 35 and have fantasies of Betty White?
Oh, I've been saying it the whole time. Just live it out. If you're gonna do it, then do it. But I don't have 95. I don't. My gap isn't that deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess hers might be. And that's our show for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We might not be back tomorrow. And we'll do this all over again, possibly only on the internet. Thank you so much for hanging. Thank you for being part of our radio family.
down.